the political season of the past 2 years now, you would know that there's a group of individuals. Whenever something goes wrong with a certain political party, they have their capers, surrogates who are not affiliated with the politicians, but who speak for or are a voice of the politicians. Most of them in this medium. And I don't really like to get into politics too much on this channel because, let's face it, there's so much out there, and I like to focus on other things that are on mine. So with that being said, I'm going to reference it to the two symbols, and I think you know who I'm talking to. But let's just say the donkey and the elephant have been at odds with each other for a long time. Sometimes the donkey has won their battles, and the elephant has won its battles. So now the elephant is in charge of the three pillars of our government, right? And they also have help from a court of the Supremes. Now, as of November 2024, the elephants have been sorely in charge, right? They have controlled all the levers of government, and therefore there should be no problems, right? Well, here's where it becomes nonsensical. Since the elephant controls all three branches of the government, or the jungle, let's just put it metaphorically, there is a chorus out there of voices who would say that the problems facing this country right now, what we're going through, affordability, gas, there's a war going on, that somehow it is the fault of the donkey. You folks really believe that? Well, actually, you know what? In the past, people have and have voted against their interest. But now, as of 2026, we begin to see the tide turn just a little bit, right? We're now seeing groups of people, millions of people, who don't believe that rhetoric anymore. They believe that because the elephant is in charge of all three pillars of government, plus help with the Supremes, that our lives should be a lot easier. The price of eggs should go down. The affordability gap should be a lot nicer. We're not going to war with anyone. Wrong, wrong, and wrong, right? And so, let me ask you a question, you folks out there. Does it make sense, and has it ever made sense, for a political party to, when they're in charge of all three branches of government, to lay the blame of their troubles on the opposite party, which has no power at the moment, has no control, has nothing to do with what is going on, taking place out there, how the economy is doing, how this country is doing, how we are faring overseas, and including with our so-called neighbors. You would think that the surrogates of the elephant would take responsibility and just say, hey, it's our fault, we'll fix it. But no, the same voices who cape for the elephant are now saying it's the fault of the donkey. You've seen the channels. What are the donkeys going to do now? Like they have any power at all. They don't have any power at all for the moment. But if you listen to these voices, everything that is going wrong in the United States of America lays at the feet of the donkey. Does that make sense? As the kids say, make that make sense, right? It doesn't. It's idiotical. It's crazy. It's planned, for those of us who believe that, yes, the donkey is responsible. How? How are they responsible for all this going on right now? For unemployment to rise up to the levels that it has been. I know. Alternative facts, right? Coined by the elephant or a representative of the elephant. But those alternative facts get in the way of reality. 1984 tactics also used by the elephant. Let's go over that for a minute, right? You have a big brother. You have the Ministry of Truth. Fire alarm. You also have a war going on with Eurasia and this other country. That's the alarm sounding. Happens a lot. Waiting for the alarm to pass. So, with all that going on, we are living in a 1984 type society that the elephant warned us about. However, it is happening right now. And we are living under that society. Of course, there is a Winston or two among us, but that Winston or two who are in our society, if you read Orwell's book, you would know what happened to Winston. And that's pretty much what's happening right now with us. Those alternative facts, right? You will believe those alternative facts or else. So while I'm listening to these surrogates and capers and all that, I'm reminded that people are suffering out there. People are really suffering out there. And these folks can just tell you that, hey, the donkeys are in charge. They need to do something about this. No, they don't. Not until they get elected. But until that moment comes, this all lays at the fault of the elephant. And those carrying water for the elephant should recognize that, but they won't, because it is their mission to say whatever they have to say to denigrate the donkey, even though the donkey was voted out of power 2 years ago. Are you happy with the way things are occurring now? Do you see a brighter future for yourself, your children? How about your health care? How's that working out for you? Are you able to vote for your candidates? Do you have the right? Do you feel comfortable where you are right now? I would say, unless you happen to make trillions of dollars from the big, beautiful, bloated bill. Oops, I mentioned a policy. I would say that your life isn't gorgeous right now. And tech bros who are trying to get in the elephant's graces, good graces, are very happy. They're flaunting their wealth much bigger and better than it was in the 1980s, with the whole trickle down thing, right? Not only that, but the lifestyles of the rich and famous are more extravagant than ever. While the rest of us are still trying to figure out how to get to work, how do we pay our bills, gas, groceries. You want to tell me the donkey's in charge of all this? The donkey has a way to fix my health care? You telling me the donkey is what? They have some power, they got some juice right now? Nah, nah, bruh. This all falls on the elephant. It is the biggest beast in the jungle. It's in charge right now, and yet it just sits down and does nothing. Except for the rich bros, right? The rich elephants out there. In the jungle, there could be only one beast, and that one beast right now is dominating everything in the jungle, or let's say our nation, right? And a beast that is determined to hold on. It's a beast that is willing to separate families. It's a beast that's willing to, in the 250 years of this great experiment, decides it's time for a new experiment. That shouldn't happen. We who live in this country should be able to just say, hey, how about those Dodgers? How about those Yankees? How about those Cubs? Smile at our neighbors, have barbecues, summertime's approaching, have fun. And the biggest worries we have whether or not our daughter's dating that ruffian down the street who they don't trust, right? But we don't have that anymore. That small town America image that's been sold for the last 60 years, it's got to end. It's got to stop because that's the image, that's the dream, that's the fantasy. You can call Mr. Rourke, for those of you who are old enough to remember that. You can call Mr. Rourke and say, Mr. Rourke, when I go to Fantasy Island, please create a small town America that I can live in where gas is only 12 cents a gallon, where I can buy food, a hot dog for 5 cents. Those days will never come back. Who told you those days were going to come back? But that was the fallacy that elephant sold you for many years, decades, and you still believe that's happening. You're paying for $7 gas, and yet magically it'll drop to 12%. Due to the war with Iran, you know what's happening. So, my humble advice to all the surrogates and capers and people defending the elephant because the country is going south right now, stop. You're not winning this battle. You're not going to win this battle or the battles that your side has been losing in special elections across the country. And possibly, who knows, down the line. Face the facts. The elephant sucks right now. The elephant's not doing its job. Because if it did its job, it wouldn't have to worry about the donkeys taking over. But since they won't do its job and the donkeys are going to take over anyway, let it be, right? Let it happen. I really hope, and based on the temperature of this country right now, people are finally starting to see fact from fiction. 1984 was fiction, but now we're trying to make it fact. We want that 1984 mentality, that 1984 mindset to remain in fiction. And the American people, the people in the jungle, are starting to rise up and say no more. We want a better life for each other and for our neighbors, no matter who they may be. So we shall see. But I really hope the surrogates, the capers, everyone else who puts out another donkey video, what are the donkeys going to do? I hope people recognize you're just going to waste your time. Click off, find a comedy or something on this platform, and don't worry, because you would have seen comedy on that end too. So with that, I just wanted to wish you all the best. Continue to have the best life you can have. And also, thank you so much for watching. Again, don't get into the political, but we'll see how this all turns out by your comments and your likes. All right, take care.